Oh, Kissay! Oh, that's some good H20. Welcome back to the LCO delivered by Menulog. It's Menulog Mealtime, our favourite segment, your favourite segment too, probably. I know you're here to watch League of Legends, but now it's also time to win a $30 voucher for you guys in the chat. So menu pogs in the chat if you want to go into the running to win that $30 voucher. Get yourself $30 worth of Menulog, worth of goodness. Dessert, dinner, save it for tomorrow, have some brekkie. Who knows? I heard that there's some good breakfast burritos at select places around the interwebs, around the Menulog selection. Now, quickly, yes. I did ask Gunkrab before. It's international, we'll call it international, ice cream month. What's your favourite ice cream flavour? Off the top of your head.
My one's super patriotic. Hokey Pokey ice cream. Goated S+ tier, Z tier.
Yeah?
It's in a league of its own. If I ever see that overseas, I'm like, this country knows what's up.
You watch her streams, mate?
Hmm?
You watch her streams?
Hey.
Your tier 3 sub, mate.
Who's that?
Don't worry.
No idea.
Who?
No idea what you
found out Skimmy's a sim. That's all good.
True. What is your favourite?
Can we do brands like Gunkrab? Because like my favorite ice cream is a brand type. It's a type.
Yeah.
Not so much a flavor.
What
like,
is it?
I'm a sucker for just a classic Magnum.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I think they're goated, but like if I was to pick a like in the Neapolitan sense of flavor, I'd go vanilla, 100%. Just like what we said with was it milkshakes?
Yeah.
Production agrees.
The classic Andy.
Soundman agrees. Shout out to
I think we had this chat with milkshakes as well. I said vanilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, vanilla's pretty nice. I've actually had some vanilla recently with a little bit of peanut butter on the top.
Yeah.
But that also leads to my answer, which is a good peanut butter ice cream.
Okay.
Because I, for some reason, enjoy it. Never thought I did. I got it one time because I was like, I'll give it a shot. It was pretty good.
I've never understood though, Mac. I've never understood why people like choc mint because it just feels like you're eating toothpaste.
What?
That, for me, blows my mind.
Nah, chocolate.
Do you love Colgate that much in your mouth? You love cleaning your teeth twice a day? You're like, I'm going to eat it as dessert.
It's a sweeter mint.
Nah, it's cap.
It's not
cap.
like the sour one that ruins your orange juice when you drink it after you brush your
Giga
teeth,
cap.
Skimmy.
It's a flavor in the same way that grapes are flavor.
Yeah, but
Stop
grapes
it.
goated. Grapes
Stop it. I
goated.
hope one of you won your $30 voucher. That's it for
I love
Menulog
sugar.
Mealtime. Stop it, boys. We're going to talk about League of Legends, talk about teams, and talk about the match of the week, which is coming up in a second. After Skimmy, he's right here, but he's also going to take you through what's going on in this matchup.
It's always exciting seeing ex-teammates take to the Rift. Couple that with the added dagger of a playoff grudge match, and this one should be a big one. Water vs Pentanet is going to be our match of the week for the reasons that it's going to be high-octane gaming. There's going to be a lot of added pressure, and there's going to be a big chance for these two teams to showcase who is stronger at the moment. It is that battle to see who's as good and who can really look to contest the likes of Chiefs that are uncontested at the top of that throne.
He's also got a large flank. That is a very large flank.
Looking for the flank. Winter's going to go for the fight that he's after. Instant flash away there from Kissay. Winter might just fall dead as a result of this one. He's in a lot of trouble. He's going to go for the fight regardless. Down comes the entrance. In goes the Galio. He got 25 stacks in this mid-eyes, and he just don't miss.
That's just the PGG special right now. It's just like they live and die by Volkan, and if he actually doesn't get ahead or he doesn't play the game well, they just don't win.
Fire Panther, I don't know how we let you win split one. I don't know how that got through the cracks, but just know that this year I'm not going to let you beat me a single time.
Well, it's nice versing Freydith and Rogue again, but to me, I'm always going to beat them, like no matter what team they join. This is our time to actually show up and like keep our win streak going.
Big BP with some big old words there going into this matchup. Now,
Savage.
he's ready. He wants this dub. And PGG, look, they don't really keep it super clean now and then, but let's talk order first. Bringing in the same lineup as always, as you've seen this split so far. The winners from last split, of course, except for Goodo, who is the new recruit. And yesterday, he was our first Belveth in the LCO, and it did not go his way because Chiefs stole every rift, every objective. every single bloody big buff camp and the man couldn't get stacks at all and he felt non-existent. So do you think we're going to see that again today?
Velvet?
Possibly. I think it's certainly a consideration, right? We've not really seen any other teams either cop a ban or even consider hollering it as to whether or not they'll consider it. But I think, yeah, from what we saw, I still do think that Belveth has a place in the meta. I guess our concerns were you drafted 3 hyper carries and the highway was to try and just go toe-to-toe with Chiefs, which is easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
So they are champions for a reason, obviously. I mean, they've changed the lineup, but they're no doubt looking to try and keep that same outcome of just getting wins, doing exactly what Biopentha mentioned of taking down big names and not really being upset by that. Puma clearly not fazed by who he's up against. So I think for them, it's going to be business as usual. I guess we just want to see a way for them to enable those key carries like Byron Puma.
Well, funnily enough, Puma doesn't actually know who he's up against because he has nameplates off. But at the same time, it is PGG that he's up against today. And he's got big old Marky Mark, the Prey diff, down in the bot lane with Rogue as well. Of course, that mid-jungle duo we were talking about, Balkan and Yuri, put them pretty high up on the tier list because we know what they're capable of. So we're going to be looking at them. But again, Winterart, definitely the man you've got to keep your eyes on as well. The Swain we saw from him yesterday was spectacular.
I feel like we saw a lot of weird things yesterday from them as a whole, actually, because we saw, it was the Vi, which was unexpected, so an AP Ezreal, which was very unexpected.
Yep.
And we saw them genuinely have a losing chance to Mammoth, who invaded them and made their life miserable, and almost just proved true what Biopanther said, which is they live and die by Balkan, and if Balkan's dying, their chances of winning are gone, and they almost lost.
Yeah.
So this is a really big game for that exact reason, because to me this is the proving grounds for players like Goodo. It's the second round robin for him in this matchup. It's the second chance for him to go toe-to-toe with one of the best junglers that is fast tempo in the league.
Yeah.
And so that's really where all my eyes will be directed towards, all of my focus and attention will be.
I think today is going to be high priority on Yuumi because both these supports have been having some rough games when they're not playing Yuumi, but when they're on Yuumi, they're doing real good work. Rogue, Corporal.
You just want to see him celebrate on the Yuumi again, don't you? You want to see him do up his tie, stand on a book.
But yesterday, was Corporal even said on Twitter afterwards with the Tarm Kench, he's like, look, you're on Tarm. I just felt like W and in. You know, I just had the itch, and he did that a few times.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Scratch that itch.
hopefully there's no Tarm.
Itchy skin, bro, like Tom Kench.
Scratch that itch indeed. But we have seen Rogue do similar things before as well. So, look.
Sure, yeah.
They're both homies, though, at least.
They
so
are.
we'll talk about that. But look, I've got Pradith on the line, so we're going to have a chat with the man in the bot lane. Pradith, what's going on? How are you feeling going into today's game against Order?
Hello. Feeling pretty confident. Or, I don't know. It's just like another game. I haven't really thought about it too much.
Okay. Now, we just had a quick conversation. I want to hear your thoughts as well. So, Corporal, Rogue, both of them have had some unfortunate games in the support role. How high of a priority is Yuumi today to make sure that you can babysit your supports?
I think Rogue and Corporal there are some games where you can report them for sure. Some games where they're by far the best players on the team.
Yeah.
So yeah, Yumi's probably the #1 champ for today.
Okay.
Both teams.
Well, we'll see. Whoever's on blue side might have a little bit more fun there. Now, look, you in particular up against Puma. Are you really scared of Puma? You know, the man just CS is like an absolute madman. And I know you're never really phased. You've got that confidence. Do you see yourself winning the matchup like early game, or do you think it's going to be more of a late game scenario?
I think like when I verse Puma, it's like I'm probably the least scared of versing Puma because he just does nothing like early game. He just farms. Whereas like any other AD carry in the league might scare me. Not scare me, but like might actually do something.
Yeah.
So Puma kind of just sits there. He's I guess he's like just chilling out, just farming as a AD carry. And then yeah, like later on in the game, he can have his moments for sure. So I guess we'll see.
All right. Well, best of luck, Mark. We'll let you go. Enjoy trying to lock in Yuumi for your boy Rogue.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
No worries. Let him get ready for the game.
Genuinely, I've never seen someone's eyes light up more with you setting up the chance to BM his own teammate. Like the second you mentioned Rogue if he's not on Yumi being bad, he was like, oh my god, I could say anything here. This is so good.
He's just throwing a real dummy ball right now. Look, Dare fan vote time. Get your Twitch points in. Tell us how you think this game's going to go. It is our game of the week, match of the week, and it is for a reason. It's going to be a banger, and I want to see that 50-50. If it's not bouncing between 50-50, well, someone hasn't put enough Twitch points in, and I'm going to be disappointed. I might even jump in Twitch chat and yell at you about it in 5 minutes or so. I'll see you there. Hey, our predictions. Where do we think this one's going?
Well,
I think
wherever you've gone, that's where it's going.
Oh, okay.
Because apparently, Mac's always right at the moment.
True. Thank you very much there,
So
Mac.
No worries.
congratulations.
You
no
tell
worries.
me why they're winning. I don't know anything.
I'm the script writer.
True.
I
I'm
told
surprised I'm the only one.
This was very hard to go for PGG. I just feel like from what we saw from Order yesterday, I kind of think PGG, like when they bounce back off losses, that's when Balkan goes nuts. And I'm expecting that today. Gudo didn't show me enough on the Belveth. If there's a chance for it to be picked today, maybe it's a bait pick because I didn't really like his build either. You know, that's just personal. That's personal. I know Gudo's absolutely insane in the jungle. I just feel like that Belveth with that comp, I didn't really like it.
That's fair. But
What are
we
you
also
thinking?
had the Puma incident. That's out of the way.
True.
So they're about to ramp up. This is their
Vein
their
spotting.
narrative arc. They're in the hyperbolic time chamber. And I mean, Order's also a team that bounces back really well off losses. This
They
is
do.
literally reminiscent of our predictions for the playoffs run, where I just picked Order the whole way and
Pretty
just
much.
caught up to all of you in predictions just by bashing Order the
But it's not
entire
playoffs
time.
yet, Rusty. You don't have the
Are you
playoff
getting too
buffs.
excited, eh?
No, I've
Just
got the
yet,
one
alright.
person predicted them buff.
Yep, true.
Where am I?
It
I'm
always
still-
works.
I'm still
Yeah.
two
It
behind.
actually always works.
It always works.
Yeah. I was just pulling ahead too.
There you were.
It's too late to swap now. Either way, top lane. How do we see that going? Because Winterer played really well yesterday, has had really good games recently,
Two of the
and
best
Bio the
lanes.
same.
Two of, like, by far the best Swain top lanes that we've
Sure.
seen that have legitimately hard carried games, but also two of the best tank players. So
Yep.
this is going to be an interesting matchup. I think a lot of it comes down to, like, how aggressively are the coaches demanding Sejuani versus how much are the players saying, give me a carry.
Sure.
And we'll see how it actually plans out based off maybe even side of the map. Red
Yeah.
side counter pick could be big.
I think it could be another nullifying lane like it was yesterday with Tapoon and Bio going up against each other, right? So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we did see, just gentleman handshake with tanks, or what I'm saying, no, you draft me Camille, I draft Rumble, and we're just going to carry.
Well, who's getting Sedge? Because I feel like Sedge has, for the last week and a half, been full 100% pick
Just
rate.
ban it or something.
Reckon ban? Just keep it
get rid of it.
spicy?
I'm happy to not have a Sejuani
I don't really
involved.
want it, eh?
Like, personally,
I would be. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking if that Belveth gets another run, if Sedge is on the team, maybe there's
for
an extra
sure.
chance, you know?
Order
Just
more
saying.
likely, yeah, but also they love a good Ornn game. So you pick Sedge,
very
Bio's
true.
the most happy handshake you've ever seen of Tank's top lane. Also
And-
hasn't played Sion once this split yet. Sion's still good.
It's true.
I feel like this game could be won and lost in the top lane, 100%. And
think
we're
it could
about to
be-
find out if it's won or lost. Skimmy, you can talk in a second. It's my turn
Oh.
because it's time for the match of the week. It's time for Champ Select.
Go.
I think it could actually be one in draft here, Mac, because, I mean, we look at the last time they played against each other, and there was a lot of draft curveballs, right? The fact that the Talia was not really read too well, the fact that the Mordekaiser came out to try and give them a bit of
Yeah,
space
true.
to protect that of a Zeref. That was obviously last time. We're well through this draft, so what stands out immediately for you here?
I mean, the three standard red side bans are the first thing, right? Seraphine, Yumi, Wukong just taken off the board. That's not a big surprise. Twitch target away from Praedyth makes sense. However, Puma, very prolific Twitch player. So to me, that's a sign that they really wanted the Zeri. Above all else, they wanted that Zeri. Swain is a targeted ban. It's funny that we bring it up as something that can be played between both of them. So it feels like Order have made shared champion pool targeted bans for the purpose of a composition for themselves. Belveth not going to be picked, though it was just hovered. And Lulu for Corporal, straight up. They see the Jinx and the Lee Sin, they're like, there's just no shot we're giving you this. And while Yumi's not available, we're going to go for Yumi 2.0, right? It's very hard to kill a Lulu in lane.
Yeah, but then you get Yumi 3.0 in Renata. So we've really got them all coming out straight away to enable these hyper carries to pop off to their true potential. Was it actually Puma in his interview yesterday that said that, the Zeri Twitch matchup is a bit rough, hence why they've actually given him a bit of protection with that Twitch ban? That would seem to make sense for me.
Yeah, I think we've seen for a full week of LCO now, Twitch Renata just 2v2ing any matchup, really. They just somehow at level 2 with Ignite, they'll find themselves the kills. So perhaps that is, a big part of it. Just take that away. Either way, they get the Zeri. That's the most important part of this overall. And The Lee Sin lock-in is, I'm going to say it's better this time around for PGG because they're playing for the Jinx so far, right? They've got a real opportunity here for their mid laner to be a Corki, to be an Azir, for them to have such really good like scaling options, and then to just have a tank or bruiser top laner to round the composition out. Something that can provide them a forward moving option would be really nice to have. The choice of the Ornn ban here to me indicates that they might still go for the Sejuani. Again, not for the combo of like Sej Lee Sin to be insane, but to have a free engage top laner, ranged engage as well on your top laner, which is something that I think only Ornn as the other tanks can actually provide. It's non-committal while still being engaged.
Certainly is. Begs the question then, what will we get if they do need that engage? Which is going to be a Sejuani coming out from the side of Pentanet so far. So you got the engage with that, with the Lee Sin, much like we just saw in the game just gone by. Not the most obvious pairing, or definitely not the same as a carry if it was to be a Bel'Veth or a Viego, for instance, but certainly allows you to stack up that passive quite nicely and give yourself that guaranteed CC.
I wonder if it's just going to be a Scion and a Corki or something here, though, from Order. Like, is there still going to be a tank that they want to play top lane? That is the question. That is a Zac. And I feel like that is a Zac top. It kind of has to be. Or is it a Lulu top and a Zac support? Because that would make my whole life.
I mean, there is a world where it could be either. Biopanther has played supports in the top lane many moons ago. So it would feel a little bit more at home to have a Zac up there.
Ahri lock-in. Because the thing that Order really needed was like an engage angle, a forward-moving angle, something to work with the Zeri quite nicely. The Zac is something that certainly stands out to me as quite an interesting option. Zac can also go Ignite if he is top lane. Just throwing that one out there. Is that Kassadin? There's a Kassadin lock-in here into the Ahri. Lots of new splash shots. That threw me. Wow, we've gone for some very interesting champions here. That is a big scaling choice for them. I said things like Azir as options, right? Something that can provide priority for the Lee Sin to be aggressive and have control of a quadrant. Kassadin, a little bit worse off in terms of laning, but still can handle Ahri really nicely with the magic damage shield.
Certainly should be possible, right? Obviously another scaling option, much like a Kale, something that can allow you to be rather aggressive, but maybe that silence is going to be invaluable. The ability to try and be very mobile, given that you can have a lot of targets jumping upon you. The Ahri, the Zac, the Xin, the Zeri, that you can just be omnipresent to dash around, obviously help proc that Sejuani passive and guarantee a lockdown, which for me, I mean, ultimately you have just got raw damage across the board from neither team.
They've given themselves really insane angles here with top laners being involved in fights, but there's also some split push here from PGG with the Kassadin can go to a side lane, definitely prospers in that situation, so 1-3-1s could be there from them. And also very difficult to dive Renata. We saw this yesterday, trying to dive her. She just uses the ult and everything dissipates almost immediately because you're stuck under their turret just hitting your own teammates. Order on the flip side here, definitely still a strong composition. Zac top lane absolutely can work, has worked in the past. Not surprised to see it still exists as a top lane choice. It just shows up every now and then. And perhaps it is that in the durability updates, it just feels more stable top because Zac has distinct weaknesses in the very early stages of a game where I would say Sejuani just commands control of that 1v1. There is still going to be that point of critical mass if both top laners are grouping for team fights in a tank matchup, which is what this is. Zac is so insanely useful at all times throughout a fight.
Certainly will be, but I will notice, well, I will note rather that the fact that there is a lot of diving threats into the fact of Pentanet, right? That the Renata ult is going to be nice to try and dissuade or at least flip the script back in their favor, but they're not the heavy hitters. They're not the targets that are going to look to try and, you know, go berserk, enrage, attack their teammates, and take them down to, you know, give that Renata all the success in the world, right? So ultimately, we've got ourselves a situation where I'm sure Order are quite happy to afford them that Renata. Across the board, though, what are we looking at here? What are our dream conditions, our dream setups, our win cons to be excited for?
I think right now both teams are playing towards bottom lane. Pentanet have one extra win condition here of a Kassadin hitting level 16, being a monster in those team fights. Order probably looking more for picks and engage. Ahri Charms to kick fights off, Zeri to help with the assassination to transition to those fights, but it's going to be an explosive 5v5 here for our match of the week.
Certainly will be. Match of the week for a reason, because these two teams have a lot to prove once again. Pentanet took it last time. It was a perfect game for Yuri on that Galio that built like a support but popped off like a carry. It is that lower bracket semi-final. A chance for revenge once again here for Pentanet, but more for Order to run it back to a game 3. Well, let's check in with the coaching staff. This time I had the pleasure of speaking with Chippies from the side of Pentanet. Mate, how are we?
Good, thanks.
I have to ask, coming into this one, just how important is it to try and get yourself a 2-0, right? The fact that you'll get the head-to-head, there's a potential to then guarantee yourself a really great spot in those playoffs?
Yeah, it's pretty important. Not so much the head-to-head, but we're still gunning for the first seed. So we're hoping Chiefs have a little slip-up along the way, but we don't want to be dropping any more games.
No doubt. I mean, you told me last time, I think we spoke about sort of drafting some easy-to-execute compositions. Talk to me about this one, right? Because you've drafted a last-pick Caston, which has thrown us off by surprise. But were you really confused at all by some of the champs, even that Zach, for instance, that Order have thrown your way?
Nah, I told Dongy to expect Zach today because he's been playing it all week. But in terms of the Cassidon, it's normally a greedy pick, but Yuri normally wins lane on it somehow, so let's see if he can do it today.
No doubt about it. All right, mate, well, I'm going to leave you to it. We're going to crack on with this one. Wish you boys the best of luck for the rest of the week, as well as tonight.
Thanks, Chief. See ya.
So there's a couple of really interesting things here as well, Skimmy, as we get into this game. Kisei's gone for first strike on his Ahri. Hasn't gone towards Electrocute. Hasn't gone, any of the other basic sorcery options that could exist there for the Ahri. First strike being very greedy for some extra money, acknowledging that the lane is pretty free, right? Cassidon's going to harass, going to poke you down with Q and the occasional Force Pulse E, but ultimately never has kill threat until level 6. Also has teleport, not ignite, which makes sense. So Kisei's just kind of acknowledged that this lane's just a handshake. Doesn't want to put a crazy amount of efforts into hard winning the lane by any means. Just controlling the lane, keeping the Cassidon at bay, and slowing him down while making extra money yourself. Top lane matchup, Zach always runs Conqueror. The exception to that is, I believe, in the support role, you can go for Glacial. Jungle role, you might be able to go for Glacial if it's a free jungle matchup. But Conqueror is just so good for the constant trades that you make, and Zach is a top laner that trades constantly. So that's a really important thing for him. So far has been doing exceptionally in the lane, it feels like. Must be a big wave that's going to crash, but Bio's been controlling this wave, has got the push, has got completely covered Winterer.
Yeah, and also you can see the little counter there for Winter to play around is to step on those health blobs, right, to prevent Biopanther from regenning as much as he can. Health cost being what it takes to utilize those spells, but it was interesting, right, the fact that Chippy said, no, we were completely prepared for this one. That wasn't going to cause any concern whatsoever. Something that's new, obviously, for us to feast our eyes on, maybe a handful of games elsewhere around the world, but I think the most important thing for me was the fact that he said, look, we can draft like a Caston necessarily because he will just win lane, much like we've seen times where Cookies or Rises somehow win lane.
He's not, though.
Not at the moment. Okay, maybe not the right time to bring it up.
Absolutely losing lane as we look at it. It's range into melee, it's expected, right? Like, a lot of people look at Cassidon into a mage and say, I mean, Cassidon survives. But if you have to last hit because you're melee by using your ranged ability on minions, then you're never going to have the magic shield for the harass that comes out. And Ahri can also auto-attack. So she's actually perfectly fine to just be able to make it more extended trades, hit the return part of Q2, get a couple of autos off W for movement speed. We'll control, right? We'll keep the Cassidon busy just like we said. And things will just continue. For PGG, they're very happy to scale into this game 100%. Get some levels into the pockets of their team. Sejuani also is not really a level 1 champion, not even really a level 2 champion. Wants level 3 to have access to all abilities. But it was a free cheater recall here secured by Biopanther, so even if he starts losing trades from this point, has that extra health, had that extra opportunity to bait, and still managed to retain his teleport at no cost for himself.
The dream scenario. Absolutely what you want here if you are the top laner for Order. Did see a very sizable trade in favor of Order also in the bot lane. They're actually forcing Rogue to back on all the way back to base. Got a solo experience of Predator underneath his turret. It's not going to be punished. We'll get to see where that first breakpoint takes place here.
And you heard from Chippies as well, just while we are in a bit of a lull state, that they are looking to take first place, still get that first seed out of the regular season. Tomorrow, if they win today, they are up against the Chiefs. So it is a very big week for Pensanet.gg. This is our match of the week because we're always worried that the Chiefs will just win. So we're expecting this one to be a very close affair, but a really good opportunity here for them to bounce back after a shaky day 1 performance. and find a solid victory here, but Order no slouches.
They've got a big week as well, right? The fact for both of these teams are up against this as the match of the week, but then the heavy hitters for them to face up against tomorrow as well.
Yeah, Order had 3 big games this week. It's tough to prepare for 3 big games, especially because you don't get to practice against those teams in scrims.
That's it, and just then the turnaround between games, right? The ability to do all your prep in advance, and the turnaround from tonight into tomorrow. Was the prep in line?
Also a new patch.
Yeah, what did you witness from the day? What did you see your opposition decide to do?
Kisei level 6 here.
That's just going to be sidestepped here by Kisei. That's nice. Charm goes out. Wind becomes lightning. Instant flash away. But he's been polymorphed. That's looking like a first blood if I've ever seen it. Self-casting the bailout, but he's been bailed to death. 1 for 1. As Rogue will get a kill from the Afterlife with the Ignite.
Kisei still with 2 charges on the ultimate is choosing to hover around the area still. Balkan Charm.
Yeah, just out of range, on towards Praetor, but they'll find another target instead. Onto Balkan. Yuri left to the side, looking to try and trim out vision on that pixel bush, but great start for Order.
I'm honestly very confused with why Pensinet.gg was staying in the area. Even if they're choosing to recall, they recalled so close to Order. You saw the Ari with 2 stacks still there and really just gets to walk up to you and hit the charm. Biopanther with his signature now roams towards mid. Yuri has ult though. And he cancels it just as Yuri dashes forwards.
Really unfortunate timing there.
Absolute tragedy of timing, but he's got the wave to collect back. The top lane might miss a minion or 2 here, and Kisei's still very much due for a base with no mana, so very hard to actually do anything there other than a little bit of pressure. And ultimately, if the Zac did go in mid, he would have missed this wave top. So no harm, no foul, just resets to be seen. And Order with the 2-for-1 trade, all things considered, and a 2-0 Ari as the end result of that. Very happy. Tragedy for PGG. Kill went to Rogue.
Certainly did. Trader from the top lane, being by searching for a kill as he's done countless times already this split. Response from Winter was to lay some very deep vision with a control ward on towards the enemy blue. So eyes in the sky to see exactly where Gudo may be. And ultimately try to keep this Ari in check. If you can get a shutdown nice and early.
Oh. They choose not to go any further than just the pixel brush, however, in lane. Control Ward about to spot Gudo, so really nice movements here from Winterer. Also chance that Control Ward does get cleared, of course, because you drag the blue buff into the bush 99% of the time. Balkan also going to be spotted here. Both teams playing for the top side of the map. Gudo does not check the bush.
Winter's coming. Oh, Winter is coming if you're a Game of Thrones fan. Out goes the rocket. On goes the kill. We're looking for Gudo. The target is there. The kill has been found. Or has it? Well, it has been now, especially with the blue buff being stolen too. Question now becomes, can Kisei jump across this wall? Yes, he can. Spirit Rush. There's another charge. Looking for a second. Can we find it? Can he make himself now 4-0? No. Bio will share the spoils. But all that over a blue.
I can't help but feel like Pensinet.gg are not playing like they have a Cassidy on their team. They are playing like their Cassidy is the Ari, and Kisei just comes in to collect every single time they force the fight. The blue steal was great. The kick, the first look, that was fine. Just run away. But even then, like, you've got the steal, you've kind of got what you came for. Nevertheless, they just press just that little bit too far, and they give a little bit too much opportunity to their opponents. Or to pounce.
Yeah, they certainly do. They've got numbers in the area, and they are certainly utilizing it to force this first Herald of the game. 4 members strong will advance straight towards it. Yuri looking in from the bottom side of the river. The rest of Pensinet wrapping around from the top half.
Sedge no ult, Lee Sin no ult. Contesting this is fairly difficult.
Gudo jumps in straight away looking for that key target. Does he have the ability to lock them on down? Balkan secured it. If he falls on down, well, he's done his job. He's picked up the eye. He's going to fall on down. But they found a 1-for-1 with both junglers being destroyed. Now Yuri's found a kill. That's great news for a Cassidy only 10 minutes in.
The trade's going to finalize here with just a couple of kills, but their Herald secured. Massive for PGG to not only get the Herald, but to have Praetor left to his own device's bottom, because Zeri is roaming up throughout all of this. And it starts off so nicely for Order, cancelling Balkan's resonating strike. Not going to allow him to get into the fight, but he flashes to get away and saves the smite with the eye auto attack. Yuri comes in to secure that last hit onto the Zac passive, as the Bloblets are not going to keep him alive through all of that damage. When all's said and done, like you just mentioned, really big for Yuri to find those moments. And that is all it takes. It is a massive Ahri on their team, but a small mistake, and suddenly the Kassadin is just set off.
And that's all you need right now is Yuri, right? If he gets that shutdown, suddenly all that great work that Ahri's achieved goes out the window. And then the mid-game slowly starts to shift in favor of Pentanet.
They're
We're still
engaging
on.
again.
We certainly are. This one just a fraction too wide.
Corporal able to use the Whimsy there. Get himself out. However, who's going to save Puma? Who's going to protect Puma?
Question is it Goodo? They're looking for it. The Rocket just a little bit too shy of connecting. He's become berserk, but it's not the target you want. Azeri won't do any damage. He's fallen on down. Members of Pentanet ever so low. Can Goodo find him? No, he's been silenced. He'll take one to the grave with him, but I'm getting scared now, Rusty.
Yuri's 4-0.
just found a double. That's what you want. Now two mammoth mid laners colliding in the bot lane, and it's up to Kisei to try and put in a hero's moment. A charm, it wasn't enough. The Orb of Deception, when it came on back, it just wasn't enough to get the kill. Yuri's going to turn around. The zap, the silence, the magic shield,
He's got the
shutdown.
resets. He ulted away. If he ulted towards Rogue,
Oh my god.
he actually probably cleans up all three if he ults towards Rogue there. Kisei's not going to find it, just the one. But look, he gets this turret. He saves the turret plates. He'll push them away from the push as well. And he'll get something back. He's now 5-0. Refuses to give away his bounty. I get being safe. I get being cautious. But the tragedy for Order is the mistake had already been made. The dive, very successful. And the Renata ultimate stops any kind of immediate trades. Balkan goes into the undead state just a little bit too late there. Will easily get it back. Goodo pretty happy with that trade for himself. And at this point, Kisei, I mean, he starts this off brilliantly. Helps to clear the wave with the Q through, knocks all of them down, and hits a charm. Has to dodge the Jinx traps. If he plays patiently here, waits for the third bush where he has a ward, there's a chance that he just gets the first kill onto Yuri. After this auto attack, if he just goes forwards or doesn't waste the ult straight away,
RW.
he has them all there, honestly.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the silver lining is he is still a huge Ahri. 5-0-1 at this early point.
We didn't want to give the shutdown to Jinx, right? Like, we can all acknowledge
Absolutely.
a very fair call from him, and we are seeing what could have happened instead.
End of the day, he is leaps and bounds further ahead than anybody else in the Rift right now.
You know what's scary, though, is that the Kassadin is second in gold.
Yeah, it is.
The Kassadin is still second in gold. He's already level 10. Can't ask for much more. Got the Kale effect about it.
Here comes Shelly in the bot lane, ready to try and go for a bit of a cheeky headbutt. Question is, can they say? Oh, no, they couldn't. Very close, though.
I think it hit 90 health.
I
before
saw
the
that,
charge.
yeah, double digits.
Also, Crown of the Shadow Queen done for Yuri. Kassadin, I think, one of the few champions that still looks for this item. Even then, it's not a mandatory, but just helps, right? It adds tankiness to a champion that gets melee in your face with those engages and can often start with teleport flanks. So that time of severely reduced damage output onto a Kassadin is time that he'll get another ultimate off, and that ultimate stack scales, and that's a majority of his damage anyway. That's why Tank Kassadin exists in the first place, is because you're able to get 4 stacks on the ultimate and just do like 1,000 base damage with one button as a tank. Quite gross, honestly.
Certainly had our fair share of tank carries, be it Zerion launch with Akali for a meantime, with
Ezreal every
Kim Tank,
year.
Ezreal all the
Every
time, what
year.
Death Stance, Frozen Heart, won't fall on down. Balkan might, Gore Drinker, we'll just give him a little bit of health back.
Still nice play. Yuri in the area, so they're not going to overexert themselves, and Kisei had to wait for cooldowns on all of his abilities. It's just controlling mid like you're seeing. Yuri, while he is surviving and while he is scaling, cannot hold a candle to the amount of priority that exists from this Ahri. However, on the other side of the map down in bottom lane, while top is neutral, bot has been very favorable, it feels like, for PGG in terms of push and in terms of control. The turret is basically one hit, and a single opportunity or moment for the Kassadin and the Lee Sin to get down there is a moment that that turret crashes with kills potentially to follow. But Bio having teleport advantage and Winter and Not means that PGG may wait for this Drake for something to happen.
Double objectives with very similar spawning times, with an even game state 7-7, and the gold leader is as small as it comes. It will still be a sweet spot here for Order to celebrate. Kisei's going to jump in there, and he's going to get consumed by the Jinx Chompers. Straight into a volatile takeover. That Rogue is once again consumed in that very same spot once again. There's the Lightning Storm as Puma bursts into life looking for that kill. Bio just out of range with the slingshot, but it won't matter because the Ari has already done enough. Kisei is on fire! It's not going to be outdone because Yuri still wants more. He's going to find at least a retaliation of some sorts, right? If anybody's going to pick up a kill, you want it to be the Cassidy. But it will be at the consequence of losing that second Drake.
Both junglers going down there in that skirmish means that it's just going to be the damage of Order. No threat of a steal that comes out. Looks like Yuri's still comfortable, but at the end of the day, a very one skirmish from Order. They'll be super happy with that, and it's getting everyone involved as well. It's not just a 7-0 army. Ari, 20 Magi stacks, by the way. It is now a Zeri getting involved into the mix. Rogue super dead in this situation, was just caught with nowhere to go. Balkan gets done in by the Xin ult, the Lulu ultimate knocked up, completely knocked around. And there's just nothing there for Pentanet.gg from the first moment that the play started in Order's favor. There was nothing to speak of, however, just a little bit too far from Gudo. The rest of his team was disengaging. Gudo saw an angle that wasn't there, baited into the play, and a nice little return trade by PGG.
He was waiting very patiently in the wings, was Windra, ready to lock them down with that ultimate and secure at least one answer back. That was the play for the Drake. Now we got our sights rather turned towards this Herald instead.
Rogue acting up there. Don't handshake a Zac. He's got stronger arms. I just feel like, what is up with supports in our league and trying to take on everyone they see?
Why not?
I can tell you why not. Because they kill you.
Have a biff, mate.
That's
See
it.
what happens.
We're all just ARAM gamers here.
Absolutely. If in doubt, chuck a snowball out.
Fight on sight.
So I think it's fair to say that after winning that Drake and the commanding fashion in which they did it, Order are able to get that Herald relatively easy. No contest. 20 stacks, as you mentioned already. Kisei is now the juiciest target in the Rift to try and lock down, but that's an easier target, or that's easier said than done, rather.
Yeah, Kisei absolute juicer, but like you just said, hard to kill. Still in terms of build, not going for the zone, he's going for the Shadow Flame, maximizing his damage. No magic resistance, really. There's a couple of Merc Treads there from Pentanet.gg, but overall it's fairly lacking of the magic resistance. Kisei's still going to be doing the maximum amount of damage that he possibly can. Lots of big items actually across the board. Interesting that it's the Sunfire Cape from Biopanther instead of the Frostfire, because he is still an auto attack based champion with the Q auto combo. Doesn't want to lock them on the slow field, wants the extra DPS. That is quite a funny interaction now that I think about it. Can't be slowed, so the charm, you sprint towards them. Master Yi is also the same. Yi presses ult, you charm him, and he actually just comes at you at full speed. You're like, oh god, what have I done?
Mac 10 in your face. Come on then, kill me. Come on then.
Ah.
Well, Bio is forced to burn his ultimate, as Yuri was certainly causing him a few headaches there. But Order are going to answer back, right? So there is not going to be a solo kill in the bot lane for Pentanet to celebrate, but Order can be quite content that they will get themselves their first turret of the game. Certainly scouting out the possibility of a second as they continue to barrage pressure in the mid lane as well.
Second charge denied by Sejuani. Recall going to be denied, however, here by Puma also. Order have managed to sneak in there unseen. But they have to know, PGG have to know that they're in the general area and they're worried about a dive mid. Blue Trinket spots exactly where they are. And it looks like they will stand defiant at this turret. Can they stop it though?
Oh, just max range on the charm. Is that enough to take him down? No, just too far away. Pentanet wanted to play that one casually, didn't want to overextend. It looked like they were prepared to sacrifice that tier 1. Yuri was farming up a storm there in the bot lane, uncontested. That's all you can ask for.
Puma recalling on Vision there actually cops the Super Mega Death Rocket, legitimately just to stop the base. Not going to allow him a free reset. Praetor staying on the map means that timings are mismatched here by Order. Well, PGG are going to reset. Both ADCs going to be slightly off. Yuri has completed the Seraphs as well. Tier fully stacked at this point. 2 items on the caster, and neither item is for max DPS. But he is still farming incredibly well and has a boatload of experience to his name. And while you can't keep up with Kisei, that's fair enough. That is a 7-0 Ari. What we did see is that he handled the Zac perfectly fine. And this Zac isn't going magic resistance second. It is not a force of nature. It is straight into a more AP-oriented build with like the off-tank AP that we've been seeing from a lot of champions.
That it certainly is. It does mean that things like this can continue to happen when Yuri gets excited. He can jump in your face, and he can certainly showcase that even at level 13, the Kassadin packs a fairly big punch. Very controlled game, right? Certainly a case of waiting for these next Drakes to spawn, waiting to play around a Baron. Not necessarily playing for a sole win condition, but also just buying time, buying levels, gaining items. I guess if you're Order right now, do you feel like they have more of a burden to secure themselves their end game, given just how big Kisei is?
Might have to hold the thought depending on how this plays out. Yuri very slippery, however, so it's unlikely he would get caught. I do think so. I do think that ultimately Order scale perfectly fine, but then you look at your opponents and you're worried about just how well they do scale. A 4-1 Kassadin with 220 CS at 21 minutes, you should be terrified. You should be absolutely terrified of what he's going to be able to provide to the map, and Yuri's going to be a monster of a man. And the longer that this game goes, the more that you're going to be afraid of what he can provide. Hasn't been stopped. Sitting in a side lane, untouched, and Order are just playing for objectives. Right? They're not playing to keep the Kassadin down. They're not playing to force fights themselves. So you can't help but worry for the outcome of this game. Still winnable, but it's going to be a raid boss of a mid laner.
It feels criminal, given just how far ahead Ari is, that he still managed to salvage that much more in this game on the opposite end.
I mean, both junglers have had identical score lines this entire game. Yeah. They were both 0-3-4. They're both now 1-5-7. And they both just die for the cause. And the cause has been their mid laners. I think the difference is Praetor has been a little bit more protected. He's actually had two pretty good games so far. Mid laners meeting.
Oh, this is not the face check you want right now. On towards Kisei, who still has no stopwatch. He has no ability to try and bait out this one. But as Yuri going in for the 1v3, found enough. He's lost vision. And the Wild Growth, well, that was an insurance policy if you ever needed it. That's a beautiful play. And that is the shutdown. That is the targeting on the Kassadin.
And they find a Kassadin in the bush while Order are hovering, while Order are protecting their carry. It was a 7-0 Ari, is now 8-0, and inner turret in top lane falls as well. That's just Order playing the team play better, right? And that is Yuri not expecting 3 people to be there, but not knowing where 3 people are. So falls victim to his own hubris, sees a chance, knows that he'll win a 1v1, but it just doesn't matter because it's not a 1v1. That's not how League of Legends works. And we just spoke about how he's been untouched in the side lane. It's the first time he took a fight and there's 3 people there. He'll feel hard done by. But it still makes sense that they'd be there, Skinny.
That's what it does. And if anybody's laughing, it's certainly Kisei now. He's just gone back to base, picked up a Rabadon's cap. He's close to full pages on that Majias.
Order have 4 wards here, Skimmy. They know exactly where they are. An interesting thing that we don't often talk about, but I feel like it's just widely known and acknowledged, but Lee Sin never goes sweeper because he always wants the ward hop. With the ward control that Order have in the topside jungle, they need Rogue to be working with Balkan, or PGG's vision just doesn't compare, right? So what a Lulu and a Xin Zhao will provide. So Rogue's going to go do the heavy lifting while Balkan gets greedy guts and goes for some farm.
Zombie ward OP.
Still 1 ward going to be left there and 1 control ward left deep on a flank. If you're Biopanther, you're absolutely frothing at that flank. Meanwhile, the actual jungle support working together does make a difference.
This is the point you raise, right? You look at Order, it's just sweepers across the board for them. Vision denial. Really make sure that if Pentanet get aggressive, they have no idea if it is going to be that fair 1v1, or if they are getting jumped upon like we saw just moments before. We're certainly showcasing their strength in this portion of the game as we fast approach that 25-minute mark. They've bridged the gap from what was a fragile 2k lead to now becoming 5. Pushing forward these side lanes, looking for the remaining tier 2s. And top lane is just pushing on its own accord.
Norda will continue to play around Kisei. There's no other logical path for them. Puma is now going to group around the rest of his team. Is staying off vision and has been quietly achieving and farming this entire time as well. Both ADCs really have been just invisible farm bots, which is funny because Praetor said that's exactly what Puma is. That's exactly what Puma does in his interview, but he's doing the same thing here. They're both just farming. And it seems like it is just going to be a mutually beneficial handshake. But you would say that Praetor a bit more range late game, Puma a bit more mobility, of course. Reliance on getting excited for the Jinx. Kassadin can absolutely oblige. But the Lee Sin is the interesting point here for me, right? You know that both top laners are going to be effective teamfight tanks. Both junglers have their merit. Lee Sin can hit a kick, Sin can press R and be untargetable for the Jinx damage. The Lee Sin could also just instantly die and be irrelevant. So there's always that added risk there on top of everything else.
Benton looking to be proactive here and claim what is only their second turret in the game. But Bio makes sure thing that it's not going to be as easy as that. Kisei there for protection. All the remaining members anyway will just go straight towards that Drake. Pick up their third one of this game, put themselves in a potential soul point condition. And
you know what's interesting here? The difference between both teams is realistically about how they've been farming with control the past couple of minutes. The fact that we've just highlighted how well Corporal and Gudo are moving as a duo, if you compare that to the fact that PGG haven't been, you've now seen a sizable CS difference grow for top lane. Now there's a bounty. You've also seen the CS difference in mid stretch a little bit more as well up until these waves for Yuri. They've been having a bit harder of a time to find free angles for their solo laners to farm. But lo and behold, 16 out of 16. Kassadin is now officially the most online that he can be, except for those extra damage items. And is a nightmare for Puma, a nightmare for Kisei if they get caught in a skirmish in a one-on-one. Even Biopanther, no magic resistance in his build at all.
He's certainly double-dipped into becoming a tank, but also a bit of AP damage to share around as well, with that demonic embrace coming online. And that becomes the question now, right? Do Pentanet have the tools to try and actually get into the backline? Well, you'd say so, right? The mobility of a Lee Sin and that of a Kassadin as well. Sure, the engage potential from that of a Sejuani as well. And then no doubt Gudo has his work cut out for him, right? To try and prevent a lot of those projectiles going in. That they can
going to get hit here.
Make sure that Puma and Kisei have the mobility to run away.
They're looking at mid towards the Zac, at least to have mid priority order.
Oh, he's jumped away. He's been clapped together, and they just knock him straight up. Predator is gone before the fight really even began there, Rusty. Yuri now in the firing line. He's being jumped away from for the meantime. Balkan going to cop the bailout from the Renata, but they can't find the love. They can't find the answers to try and shut down order here.
Charm just missing from Kisei there. Could have potentially been another kill. Biopanther just turns on the acceleration, hits the 1v9 angle, has had some insane stretching strikes here. Teleports to come through from PGG. There's 2 teleports available, but Winter in the area. Baron already at half health here. This is still a dangerous place to be. Yuri's level 16 in the area.
This is looking like a 50-50 I've ever seen it right now. Winter's going to face check that one. He has to run for the hill. She's just going to get burnt on down. Corporal going to take that. Ignite was active, and now the rest of order are just flinging on the sides. Can he steal it away? He cannot! The rocket comes across. It's a little bit too late. The kills have already been found, and now it really is just a Yuri Praetor show. Can they defend against 5 with Baron?
They're about to find themselves a Yuri if he doesn't get... He's got it controlled in the bush, so he's fully aware of where the Kassadin is at this point. He's actually got the ultimate backup and available. A never-ending chase, potentially. No more dashes for an Ahri. Many dashes for a Kassadin.
No, don't say it.
Not going to happen, not going to happen. Okay, so the fight is going to completely dissipate. We've got a Drake up in a minute 50, but until that point, the Baron buff in hand for order. Well and truly in the driver's seat in this game. If you want to talk about the reason why, he's on your screen right now for sure. Zac finds impossibly long angles. Is one of the most insane champions for Engage in League of Legends. And that's all it takes. And when you've got a reset champion like an Ahri who can cover that distance as well with the ultimate, is able to very easily skirt in and out to these team fights. There is a teleport there from Sejuani, but it's currently showing to deal with this wave, not going to find the flank angles. But if a fight breaks out into a reset, that Sejuani could absolutely teleport on a super wide flank. And I do think that they might be feeling a little bit more pressure to fight.
Certainly would be, as the Glacial Prison goes out, but no follow-up. That's not the target they're after. On towards Xin Zhao. In jumps Bio, instantly handshook away. The volatile takeover goes across. Instantly they jump into life. Kick and kill. Shutdown found by Rogue. As everybody from Penset becomes a Saturday turn golden, but can they claim first in this game? They're doing whatever they can to try and defend inside their own base, inside their own walls, the fortifications. They're falling down just like the soldiers themselves.
They will take out Kisei, but Puma's still alive. They still have a damage source. The damage threat here, Yuri, still up and alive, but can he stop this push? It's certainly possible.
Yuri's got a 1v9, but he has no crown, he has no Zonias, he has no hope, but he's locked up in the air just like that. Back into the fountain, he hasn't been procced, but he has to try and live. But he's got to go back in. It's paranoia, it's absolute disarray. Jumps and snipes 1 kill, but that won't matter. Order, sights set on a Nexus, and that's what they'll get.
Order find themselves a pretty successful game in the end. Pensanet thought GG, they were scaling, but one mistake is all it really takes, and the game just gets completely washed away from them. Clean win overall from Order. It's very hard to fault any single moment from them there, all things considered. We saw some nice farming from their opponents, some good scaling from them, but again, you think about what it actually came down to. It was the slow-paced, methodical lead that Order gained that just netted them 1 team fight, and they had enough of a lead by that fight time that they're able to get the win.
Bugger.
It's the one buff prediction coming in again, isn't it?
I should have been on your side. I should have.
Imagine being an Order doubter.
But at the same time, I went for PGG because, you know, win-win, right? If I PGG win, I get my prediction right. If Order win, then I'm just happy that Order won. They'd made it look really good as well.
Yeah.
Bio, when he locked that Zac in for top, I was like, how's this going to go? I heard in 12-12 it was, you know, a pretty decent meta pick, and I hadn't actually seen any high-level players playing it. I just thought it was, you know, something to be thrown around, but he was just an engage bot at the end. Man was just jumping over walls, long-range engagement, and that was just ridiculous scenes as well. Now, it was a very interesting early game, right? Kisei pretty much had bloody kingdom. Man just was untouchable. I believe, you know, you were talking about that point where there was that 1v3 angle down at bot. What I think happened is I don't think he saw the damage that he put onto Rogue. I thought he jumped away and focused on Yuri, who jumped on him at that point. So I just wanted to have my like 2 cents on that one.
Yeah.
And at the same time, of course, you know, he had that bounty and he didn't want to go giving that one away. So interesting affair. Nice attempt by Balkan for the Baron
Did
steal.
you see, by the way,
same
this
time, it
last
was rough.
fight, Renata ults and Zac with his Q on someone hits his own ally.
Oh, does he?
And it actually pulls the carry back in because the auto attack onto an ally is now targetable. It's such a good interaction that I hadn't considered until then.
Well, there you go. So learn a new thing.
I laughed
Did you know that it
mid-team
worked
fight.
like that?
No, I just hadn't thought about it. But yeah, it makes sense.
There you go. So cool interactions, crazy games, and then the Baron buff was just too much for anyone from PGG to stop that final push as well. And have a look at this. I want to see the gold. Okay, it did actually look very, very Order favored going from that sort of 20-minute mark, you know, just getting those picks off. And again, you guys mentioned it during the draft. The Cass was a bit of a, you know, out of left field pick. Didn't really expect it. And unfortunately, it didn't work. And Chippy's interview with you, Skimmy, that didn't really age too well either, did it? They're not looking for any more L's this split, but they got at least one more today.
Yeah, I mean, but I love it. I love the courageous attempt to lock in some of these champions, right? If we are saying that we definitely need ways to travel through the early and mid game, but we are going to have that packet punch end game 1v9 kind of champion, right? The fact that you went into an RE which got that accelerated that early on, but he still managed to go toe for toe for the most part. I thought that was phenomenal. So I want to see more.
Well, someone that did perform phenomenally, anemone, is actually Kisei. Hey, Kisei, can you say anemone for me real quick?
An enemy?
Yeah, nailed it. First, it must just be a me thing. Either way, look, congrats on the W. Big performance in mid today. You only fell once, and that was right at the end. You know, you got real up in with it. Were you expecting Yuri to go for that Cass, and were you happy when he picked it that, you know, you were already on Ari?
Honestly, I didn't expect him to lock in the Kassadin. I think that's a solo queue champion. Like, it shouldn't be picked competitive. As soon as he locked it in, like, we just knew we won.
Okay, and now talk to me about the comp, like, as a whole. When Bio picked Zac, was that always sort of, you know, in the strat book? Were you guys expecting him to play that and just trying to pick a comp that worked or synergized really well around that? Or were you sort of just, you know, playing to win your lanes?
Oh, I don't know if Zach wins lane. Like, I haven't played lane Zach, but we practiced it in scrims and it did kind of good. So yeah, Bio just wanted to pull it out, and we're like, yeah, go for it, mate.
Yeah, pretty solid performance. And now, of course, you've got the 1-1 scoreline. PGG don't have the head-to-head, so long term, you know, next time you guys meet, it's going to be extremely important for you. But that's another win. It gets you back up into second. You know, 6-3 or 7-3, I think, is now the scoreline for Order. So from here, what's the goals? You got a rough couple of games coming up in the next couple of days.
Peace tomorrow.
Who?
Peace tomorrow.
Peace tomorrow. Are you prepared for peace?
Not gonna lie, I don't know if it's gonna be a rough couple of games because like seeing Peace's performance like today and yesterday, probably just be easy. But yeah, I guess we're prepared for them.
Beautiful. And that was the take I was looking for. Thank you very much, Kiss. I'll let you go. Enjoy the win.
Thank you.
For someone that just won, I was expecting a little bit more energy. He was just like, yeah.
Hey, he's a relaxed gamer, man.
Absolutely smashing it on Ari, hey. That was it, bro.
But he saw what you were wearing and was like, that's the angle.
That's the angle,
It's
bro.
spicy.
That was it, man. Dare MVP. What are we doing for Dare MVP,
Yeah, it's
bro?
probably him.
Big dog.
Probably him?
Probably him, man.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other. I looked at Bio's scoreline. I was thinking maybe
Oh, he's asleep.
for those engages. Yeah, kind of like in the interview there. You know, real chill, ready to go to bed, nice and early, as you'd expect. It was going to be a flawless game, but he did fall in that final fight. 9-1-6 and 78% KP, but he just did so much work. 37% of the damage as an Ari.
It's pretty huge. Yeah, you don't see that too often, especially when we saw for such a long time, right, the Everfrost's full CC control build. So went full carry from the get-go, got all the stacks of those Magi pages unlocked, and at 1v9, so great time.
That was it. And look, I don't think you could ask for too much more than that, except maybe more games, more fun, and that's what we're going to be getting just after the break. It's Chiefs up against Gravitas right after this.
Kisse's going to jump in there, and he's going to get consumed by the Jinx Chompers straight into a volatile takeover. That Rogue is once again consumed in that very same spot once again. There's the Lightning Storm as Puma bursts into life looking for that kill. Bio just out of range with the slingshot, but it won't matter because the Ari has already done enough. Kisse is on fire! It's not going to be outdone.
Hey, look, menu bomb.
Am I currently in the LCO?
Yes.
Yes.
Am I in a top 4 team?
Yes.
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 Am I in a super team?
Yes.
Ooh, yeah, yes.
Yes.
Am I in Order?
Yes.
Yes.
So
really
that was
narrowed
so
that one
easy from your answer.
Bot, as the fight goes on, Lisa looking for the kill on towards Darjon, getting it locked in place here by the Everfrost, and absolutely breaks his ankles. Fantastic from the mid laner of Gravitas. He's going to commit, he's going to jump on in, looking to try and stack up that Conqueror as quickly as he can. Exhaust goes out, but that gets cleansed away, and now they're both low, and then Raze flashes forward and says, I want one, I'll get two, and I won't die.
Just bop.
But look to try and group on through and get away. But that's a massive 3-man route there from Appy. A self-cast ult to buy some time. He's low. They trade back 1-for-1. Lee Sin versus the Ezreal in terms of who receives that bounty. Tempered Fate goes on down.
Lightning on the Drake off cooldown.
Yeah, aggression brewing here in the bot lane, and even Tally's going to get amongst it right now. Look at try and shoot them with artillery from afar. Lionel's just going to burn. Back comes the artillery barrage. 1, 2, and 3. That's all it is.
But he is doing it.
He wants to be a literal... Okay.